Fine Chinaman here, and today I'm going to show you how to make a shelf to hold some of your dishes. So the first thing you have to do is think about, what do you want to hold? Let me show you real quick what I want to hold up on the rack. And I may not be able to hold all of this, but I want to hold as much of it as possible. What I have here is a collection of cups, saucers, and plates that belong to my maternal grandparents. And many of them belong to my grandmother's mother. So like these, as an example, are very, very old. They're very worn. I don't have a whole set, I just have 3 of them, but I would like them to be displayed somewhere. So I thought, what better way than to build a shelf? So this shelf is going to be a very decorative shelf, and let me show you what I've picked out. Mind you, this shelf is going to cost me about $50 to make, not including paint. And the reason I'm not including paint is that I'm using leftover paint that I have from other projects. I got a 1x6, which is not quite 6, 6 inches deep because it's been planed down. But regardless, that's what I got. And it's actually 6 feet long, so I could make 2 shelves. But so part of my cost would go towards making a second shelf. I'm going to put along the edge of this, let me move these other pieces out of the way for a moment here. On the edge of the shelf, I've got this really nice square pattern. I'm going to put this as a border. Now it is bigger than the shelf, so I'm going to make it flat on the bottom, but then it's going to stick up over the top. That's fine, because next to that I'm going to put this spindle railing. This is 4 feet long. I'm going to be able to cut off the extra amounts I need for the sides to go all the way around. In addition, on top, I've got this piece. I wanted a smaller piece, but not quite as wide, but I couldn't get it. This is the smallest I could get at the store I went to. I'm going to put that along the back, about ½ an inch in, and that's going to be used to hold the plates up, whatever plates I want to have be displayed. Okay, so there's a wall bracket, there's a place for a screw already. This sits on the wall, and this board is going to be on top of it, but it's going to stick out. I couldn't get a spindle angle bracket, wall bracket, that would be small enough to fit this. But what I got instead, there they are, I got finials. So I'm going to add a decorative finial in this section to tie it all together. Just remembered, I did not show you the fleur-de-lis. Fleur-de-lis, one of the ways I'm making it match, these little guys, I'm going to be putting on the spindle, or on the spindle bracket, like that. So let's get started building this. Since it's dark outside, I've decided to do this project inside except for painting, which I'll do tomorrow. I have a vacuum cleaner right here to catch all the sawdust, or most of it. I've done projects like this in my house before, and it turns out really clean. Now that the board's cut, I'm just going to lightly sand the edge that I just cut. Hardly needs anything. That's good. Now I'll vacuum that little bit of sawdust up. I have got to cut it at an angle, and I want that angle to be this way so the other one can match up to it to go back to the wall. So this right side of my saw blade is going to be right where the mark is. So I'm going to just go ahead and cut this carefully, because this is a small piece. Here, I got to get started. There we go. What I did was I went ahead and took another small piece, and I made an angle that matched, and I worked with it. And so let me see if you can see it here. I've got it to where it makes an angle 90-degree angle with one of the pieces of the pattern. So it turned out really, really nice. So it's going to look great. I need to just lightly sand off the little splinters, but very minor to do. And then this end now I need to make the same thing, but on a blank part without the square. So I'm going to do the same thing I just did. I'm going to make the opposite angle that this one has in order to go out this direction with it, and then we'll be able to attach these. Alright, so before I cut the other side like this, lengthwise, I've cut already the angle for it. But before I cut the length, just to make sure it's just right, I'm going to get these two sides pieced together first. The square's on this corner, so this corner is a little harder, and I'm going to get it done first. This is going to be the bottom, so I'm going to have it flush on this side. To start with, something to lean on a little bit here. There we go. There we go. Okay, you can still see that, right? Yeah, you can. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of glue on it, because this is going to be extra. I'm going to mainly nail it in, but I'm going to just put a little bit of wood glue on it, just like that. Not much. I have a little piece of paper down here just in case it runs off, but I don't think it will. So I'm going to put it right on like that. And now I'm going to get it just right this way with this, and then I'm going to nail it in. So let's make sure that that will fit right in like that. Looks really good. Okay, I think I'm ready to nail this thing in. So I'm going to so now this piece is on, nice and tight, and it's glued too, so it's got glue along with the nails. Now I'm going to put this piece on, right where it's supposed to be, and then I'm going to have to work with the other piece at the other end to make it match up. So I'll start with putting just a thin bead of glue. This time I'm going to do it on the board here itself. Not a whole lot of glue because I'm relying on the nails mostly, but the glue's a nice secondary holder to make everything nice and tight. So I'm going to get that corner really good. Flush, it's right there. I'm going to put my first nail in. Down a little bit. Now this is not completely equal here. It's not quite level, so I'm going to work with it. Put a nail in every 3 or 4 of these things, these squares. Okay, so now I got that. Now I can start to, well, one more here. Now I can bend this out to make it match. Nail it right there. Now bend it out a little further again to make it flush along the bottom. Okay, so we've got that all set. You can see there's the ridge there that the spindle railing is going to fit right in or up against. And now I just need to put on my last piece, which I have cut here, but I need to figure out the exact length it's going to go. And it looks like I'm going to have to do a little bit of work on the board. I think the board might be a tiny bit too long right here. I may sand it down a little bit. I evaluated the problem, and with it already being glued, it was just not sticking out quite far enough at this corner. So what I opted to do was, I remembered I had a belt sander I had borrowed for a house project out in the garage. And so I went ahead and I sanded it down, trying not to get this molding. And I did pretty well. I got a tiny bit of it, but it was on the back side, so you won't even notice it. And so I cleaned out the little bit of stuff that I couldn't get here with a knife. And so now, when I put it up, it's about 98% touching. I mean, it's so close. So it looks good. So now what I will do is, now that I have this ability here, hold it nice and tight here. I'll draw a line there, and that's where I will cut. Look at that. It is a perfect fit. So I'm going to glue this and nail gun it on just like I did the other side. Alright, so now that that's done, I'm going to just take a little break, do something easy for a minute, and that is I'm going to attach the fleur-de-lis to the wall brackets. So I've got them positioned where I want them. That cracked a little bit, but I'll patch that. I'll put one just right in there instead.